All right, as promised, we have Tim Gunn. He's always called in, but he has never been in studio. It is great to have him.
Well, I'm here for Fashion Week. It's wonderful to be here.
He's here, and he looks fantastic in the signature blue blazer.
Yeah. Thank you. You look elegant.
Thank you.
You look wonderful, and you look like you might be an interesting opponent in the ring.
Well, wait a minute. I can't go there. I'm not a UFC
I think
fighter.
this is the only show where Tim Gunn has essentially, if I may use this phrase, come out of the MMA closet and let people know
who he actually really is.
How much information.
I was going to do it on Mark Maron, but I thought I have a relationship with the Sklar's.
Do it with us.
Sure.
Look, I don't want to shortchange Maron, but do it with us.
So
and you come into the studio, Tim Gunn's ablazing. Am I right or am I wrong?
I like it. I think I'm going to make it work.
Okay.
He's going to make it work.
He's going to make it hurt.
He's going to make it hurt. And let's talk about a comment you made to an ABC talk show recently.
Which got picked up on People Magazine, picked it up.
They said that you have not
When
had...
Tim Gunn speaks, it resonates throughout the world.
Yeah,
It does.
It is. It's like a ripple.
It said that you had not had sex in 29 years?
Could that be true? 29 years? I've gone a long time between sex with me and my wife at times, but 29 years.
I haven't been sexually active in the way that most people describe it.
Okay.
But I'm happy with myself.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be alive.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a very sensible blazer.
Yes, you are.
And I'm in prime fighting condition.
You're ready to go.
Well, you said, this is what went out there, and I guess I want to know if this is the truth of the whole matter. You said
Jason.
It was a result of a very difficult breakup. Now, is that why you haven't had sex in 29? Did it sour you on sex?
You can tell us. We are your confidants here at
It was a
Clever
very
Country.
difficult breakup. You might say I got my heart broken, and I had some heart damage due to the fight at the end of our relationship.
You actually had a physical fight at the end of your
We had a
relationship.
physical fight.
Wow.
And it's hard to sleep in the same bed when you're at each other's throats.
What's that?
Well, that's sort of an interesting thing about the male-gay relationship.
Is that you can get into like a huge
physical fight.
and get into a huge physical fight that society would allow. Like, that's the most interesting thing. It's two dudes
it was
fighting.
entertaining. Every time the cops were called, they would start jacking off.
Wait a minute.
We were very hot.
All right.
We would get into it. We would be choking and slamming.
Okay.
And there would be a victory ritual of the foot on the chest. And
Okay.
if you're a police officer, you're already halfway there with the uniform.
Wait a minute.
Okay,
Wait
all
a
right,
minute.
all right.
This is
I don't know
not
if that
village
necessarily-
people,
that happened.
But seriously though, it is an interesting phenomena that two dudes fighting is something that society, like if a man and a woman were fighting, people would be like, wait a minute, someone's got to stop this.
Hey, let me get in there.
Jump in.
Yeah, not interested in a woman and a man fighting.
Okay.
I like my matches to be gender segregated.
There you go.
And that's why maybe you've become such a big UFC fan, an MMA fan. Is that correct?
I am indeed.
Are you excited about UFC 145 coming up in April?
Absolutely. I think I have my money on Rashawn Evans, but I think John Jones has a wonderful chance to make a big splash in the octagon.
There you go. That's what. And honestly, I'm saying this, Chad.
He's right.
I'm looking at this right now, and I would say that if John Jones were here right now, he would characterize his opportunity to make a big splash in the same way that Tim Gunn just.
He has a
characterized
chance to make a big splash.
I would say my advice to John, if he wants to compete, would be to rein it in on the elbows and the knees.
Okay, take it.
And do some neck work, do some mat work, and really get in your core.
Get in the core.
You win your matches in your core.
You don't have a good core. Forget it.
Yeah, if it's the torso that's going to win on the runway, and it's going to win on the jawline.
Oh, wow.
He's
There you
right.
go.
He's absolutely right. And I think a lot of people forget that. They say, look at the legs, look at the sweeping long lines in the outfits.
What can
but
you
it's
do
really
in a
about-
submission hold? It's
really
is
about
your
the
core
core.
okay? Can you take a shot to the gut?
So you're saying it was the bad breakup that kept you. I don't want to dwell on the non-sexuality on
For
the
29
celibacy.
years, still amazing.
Was it that or was it UFC?
Well, they coincided at the same time. In order to get over, we were amateur fighting, of course.
Of course.
It's
And in order
backyard
to
stuff.
get over that, I thought, why don't I just take my energy out? I don't need this lover.
You do not?
Of course, Morrissey was big at the time. So he was a huge influence.
Huge.
I don't need to be in love.
Right.
All I needed to do is go out and have a fist fight.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then that could get out even your sexual aggression.
Exactly.
Do you
and
think
believe me, it does.
Do you think
it's almost redundant if I'm going to be out there and I'm training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Of course.
I'm doing a lot of Greco-Roman.
Of course you
But
are.
not too much.
Not
Right.
you don't want to go overboard with
And
the
you don't want to be
Greco-Roman.
known as that guy.
Well, I mean, I'm always consensual. I'm always very safe. If somebody's had enough, I always pull out.
Sure.
But I thought it was a little bit redundant if I'm going to be going in there and we're choking someone out in a rear chokehold.
Yeah.
Why would I then also need to go fuck him in the ass?
Now, wait a minute.
Wait a
So
second.
you felt like that was that was in many ways gilding the lily.
Exactly. I think if you can say it with less, you're saying it best.
Right.
That's
You need
right.
to edit in your life.
You do. I think less is more, and so why would I need to be overtly having sex when I'm getting it off anyway?
You're-
The
you're
judges need to know that you yourself believe in what you're doing and that you yourself aren't going too far.
I've never been a fan of double-breasted suits. My life is single-breasted.
Yes, all the way.
Well, you don't need 4
Simple
buttons
man.
if you can have 2.
Thank
That's
you.
right.
Simple
There-
man.
he
right
just
there.
said it right there.
Simple man.
I love it.
All right, UFC 145. You got your money on Rashad Evans. Maybe. I mean, we can.
But
look at it.
he said, watch out for Jones. He's not
Jones
saying,
is looking to make a splash, and anything can happen when you're looking to make a splash. Am I right?
Anything can happen. You never know which way the blood's going to splatter in the octagon.
That's right.
I'm going to be there in Atlanta in April.
You will.
I'm going
You
to be
will.
there for the UFC.
Were you upset
If
that the location moved from Montreal down to Atlanta? Did
Well,
that
it's
upset
fine.
you?
I had a hand in that because
You
I
did!
had a conflict. I'm doing a fashion show in Montreal the next following week.
Okay.
So I don't want to overload in Montreal.
You do not want
you're
too
not
much.
like you're not like Joe Rogan, who shows up at a town and does stand up and then does UFC. You're a guy who
No, I like to
you can't
keep
do
them
both.
separate because it jars people.
It
does.
jars people when there's the violence of you being there. And do you get violent when you're watching a UFC fight?
No, I hold my hands elegantly, folded over each other,
Do you
right over my waist.
do you cock your wrist in that way that I just can't even imagine?
I watch from ringside with a stern, upturned eyebrow,
Okay, there we go.
looking for signs of kung fu.
Sure.
Potentially some Muay Thai.
But when the audience is gone, I might go into a corner and give some pointers, do a little spar.
Okay.
Sure.
But I think it's up to the fighters of the ring. I don't like horning in. I just like to guide them. I'm more of a sensei these days.
Very good.
Of course he is.
Tim Gunn.
there it is.
Unbelievable.
Thank you, Tim Gunn.
I
for
love that you made
stopping
it
by.
in the studio, and thanks for making
Here's
it
to
work.
29 more years.
Did you have tickets for the Gunn show?
No, I didn't. There it is. His wrist is cocked away.
He's flexing.
It's limp wristed, but it'll tear you apart, baby.
It will.
Does.
It
here's
will.
here's
Tim
to
Gunn.
29 more years, Tim.